so sick of conforming. The whole idea of conformity, I think it's bullshit. So this is how. Alright. Conforming is predictable, safe, and adaptive to an individual's place in the world. Yes, I do. Conforming is predictable, safe, and adaptive to an individual's place in the world. It's easy to abide by something that is so trivial. Little thought and energy are given to doing things that people normally do. Social norms allow people to experience a sense of safety and security, reassurance, especially in times of discomfort or distress. It's like a safety net, something to rely and fall back on. Our comfort zone is a place of familiarity and tranquility. It distills the pressures that life presents, the uncertainty of the future, and the fear that follows close behind. On the other hand, conformity can also hold people back from trying new things or exploring different realms of understanding the world. People genuinely fear the unknown, and conforming is one way to adapt to the changes that life presents us. It can stop us from taking necessary risks. Also, it can dissuade us from breaking free of complacence. There's a whole world out there to interact with, to learn from, to experience. But conforming can ultimately hold us back from fully harnessing our potential. It could prevent any means to abscond from what is expected of us. Personally, from the outside looking in, most people think I'm crazy. From my point of view, living within the craziness, it feels like I'm being chastised for being honest within a world of liars. After 25 years, I still don't know what it means to be human. I don't know if it's ever possible to stray away from the pressure to conform. Unless the existential dread that I garner every day is the embodiment of humanity itself. But at this point in my life, I try not to be negative. I try not to be consumed in the darkness of my past. I tell myself that I've reached the other side of the tunnel, and being humble is proof of that. I refuse to close myself off from the world. I won't allow myself to overgeneralize or to assume every person will hurt me simply because a few actually did. Otherwise, I would be no different than those who actually deserve to be condemned in that fucking box I placed the whole world in. I'm not going to let my insecurities or my hurt feelings sever my ties to humanity, or else this unrelenting misery will be all I'll ever know. And conforming will forever be an inevitability. I don't think society's getting worse, though. I think the plethora of national occurrences have always been happening. You know, the school shootings, the police brutality, or even the rape cases that led to the Me Too movement. Perhaps society itself is becoming more self-aware. Things that used to happen behind closed doors, things that we were once ashamed to admit to anyone, are coming to light. Instead of judging the truth for what it is, we should learn from these horrific events, because how else will humanity evolve? Are there any jobs out there where everyone can just be as gay as they fucking want without discrimination? Jesus fucking Christ, why do social constructs exist where only people confined in a box labeled majority can thrive? Like, why do I have to be a certain way, come from a certain place, and look a certain way to be treated fairly? I question social and cultural constructs and norms all the time when most people abide by them without question. I feel like an alien living in an unfair utopia where hard work and dedication don't mean anything if you don't fit the cookie-cutter lifestyle that's expected of us. Fuck conformity. Fuck social acceptance. Hail vegans. Hail Satan. It seems like everything is a social construct. For some reason, women still earn 80 cents on the dollar compared to men for doing the same shit. It's even less for women of color. What the fuck is all that about? How come throughout time, anyone who isn't a rich white straight man got treated like shit? Why does it matter if you're male or female, or gay, or bisexual, or transsexual, or non-binary, or cisgendered? Who cares if you're black, white, Asian, yellow, Hispanic, or a Kryptonian, for fuck's sake? We are all equals, point blank. It used to be legal to own a slave. It used to be illegal to help a runaway slave. People used to think the earth was flat, and anyone who thought the world was round was ostracized. The Pilgrims left Europe to find a new world where they can be free to be themselves and to practice any religion they like. Look how that turned out too. And then we have Columbus Day. He didn't even discover America. The Native Americans were here way before we were. And the Pilgrims just pushed them further and further west until they all splashed right into the Pacific Ocean. Everything is bullshit. The textbooks that we have our children read as ultimate truth, as absolute truth, this whole society is built on lies. But I always tell myself that every single life is precious. But there are some days when it's harder to believe that. Meditation, grounding, centering, and shielding, it helps remind me that despite the chaos that occurs all around the world, there's also astounding beauty surrounding us all. There are two sides to every coin. You can generalize and say the world and its inhabitants are doomed to hell. However, generalizations are merely logical fallacies. You can ultimately create a theory out of anything, but that doesn't mean it's right. Tragedy humbles us, builds our resilience, and allows us opportunities to take part in helping others. Good stems from evil, and the majority will never keep us down. Most people tend to project their own insecurities and their own morals and beliefs onto other people. Most of the time, whenever someone treats you in a negative way, it usually has nothing to do with you at all. You have every right to occupy space in this world just as much as anyone else. No more, no less. Don't let other people force their morals and beliefs onto you. Don't feel ashamed when they're disappointed that your truth doesn't match theirs. For this world is full of so many possibilities. Each living thing has an entirely unique experience. The sights they see, the sounds they hear, the lives they live are so complicated and yet so simple. Regardless, you are all something extraordinary. You're a human being. Thank you.